Hello, welcome to News Channel 10 at 10 p.m. Today we will be looking back at some influential events from the 1920s. One of the biggest events in the 1920s was the females' fight for equality. Women have been fighting for their rights for decades now. In this past decade, they've had many victories. On the historical date of August 18, 1920, women officially gained the right to vote. This was an extraordinary event which soon led to other events that pushed women to more equality. 1 in 4 women had jobs by the end of the 1920s, which made the number of working women go up by 25%. 15% of white women and 30% of black women are working for wages now. Women are becoming financially more independent, which is allowing them to leave unhappy marriages, which obviously caused the divorce rate to go up. They also started to give themselves more education, which gave women more opportunities in different career fields. Although she was only a senator for one day, Rebecca Felton was the first female senator. Genevieve R. Klein was appointed federal judge in 1928, and she is still currently holding her position. Klein may be a real judge, but can you be the judge of the next extreme event? The next major event that happened in the 20s was the Red Scare in the Sacco and Vanzetti case. The Red Scare was a frightening time period where the fear of communism was at its highest. Red baiting was common during these fearful times. Red baiting was where people were trying to identify the communists within our government. Government workers, businessmen, and immigrants were at a high chance of being called the communists. Since immigrants were associated with communism, xenophobia, or the fear of immigrants, began to set in. On April 15, 1920, it was the start of a terrible story of unfairness within our government towards immigrants. Things started when a paymaster and a guard at a shoe company were shot and $15,000 were stolen. A few days later, Nicola Sacco and Bartolomeo Vanzetti claimed that one of their cars were involved in the killing. When arriving to claim their cars, both men were carrying guns and were arrested upon their arrival. Even though there was never evidence of the stolen money being found, Sacco and Vanzetti were convicted on July 14, 1921. Before they were killed with electrocution, Celestino Meriados admitted to being involved in the crime along with the Joe Morali gang. The prosecutors never took in this information. Days before the electrocution took place, there were protests around the world in the fight for a fair trial for Sacco and Vanzetti. There were even 2 bombings, one in Philly and one in New York City during these protests. Even with all these efforts for a fair trial, on August 2, 1925, they both were electrocuted to death. Later on in 1977, the governor of Massachusetts stated that he declared Sacco and Vanzetti as innocent and they were all wet or wrong for killing Sacco and Vanzetti. The overall significance of the Red Scare and the Sacco and Vanzetti trials is that it changed how America looked at unfair trials. Since Sacco and Vanzetti were declared innocent and framed, and now the case is a mystery of who actually killed the paymaster and the guard. Another big mystery from these times was the Wall Street bombing. In the neighboring state of New York, there was another major crime case. At noon on September 16, 1920, someone bombed the outside of the J.P. Morgan offices on Wall Street. Over a decade later, we still don't know how this crime happened. The bombing killed 30 people instantly, and 8 more died later of complications from their injuries during the bombing. One of those deaths was the death of J.P. Morgan Jr., who was the son of J.P. Morgan. The FBI is still currently working on the case, but they haven't announced if they found any new suspects. Many people speculate it was an Italian, but we can never confirm that evidence. There is breaking news. The famous Lindbergh baby has been kidnapped. The father, Charles Lindbergh, is a famous pilot. He flew from New Jersey to Paris, France, solo. This act made him a household name. The devastated mother, Anne Lindbergh, of Charles Lindbergh Jr., found a $50,000 ransom note. There were also parts from a ladder underneath the 20-month-old baby's crib. Mr. Lindbergh claims he heard the noise of a ladder last night. The young one's nurse, Betty Gow, is not a suspect at the time. The Hopewell, New Jersey police are looking hard to pinch this lousy baby stealer. We will try to update you guys as we learn more. Now let's switch back to the studio for weather. Let's hope that baby is found safe soon. Today there was a high of 69 degrees and a low of 40 degrees. It was very cloudy today. Tomorrow there will be a high of 71 degrees and a low of 42 degrees. There will be few clouds tomorrow. Thursday brings a high of 72 degrees and a low of 39 degrees. It will be cloudy again. On Friday, there will be a high of 70 degrees and a low of 65. It will be getting warmer and the sun will finally be back out. What a great way to start the weekend. That's all for today, folks. Thanks for watching News Channel 10 at 10 p.m.